You probably remember doing long division in elementary school, but did you know you can apply that same principle to polynomials? It allows us to get things into a form that's really useful to solve things later on. We're going to start by looking at a really simple example and then get to the example at the intro of that video in a few minutes. 18 divided into 2080 has a divisor when we set it up with the form for long division there. It has a dividend which goes under the division sign, and then the answer is called a quotient. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do long division with this. So we can say 18, how many times does it go into 20? It goes once into 20. 1 times 18 is 18. And then I subtract those two numbers. I get a remainder of 2. And so then I bring down the next digit, which is an 8. And so I say, how many times does 18 go into 28? It goes in once. 1 times 18 is 18. And again, I subtract again. Now in this case, I get a remainder of 10. And so I bring down the 0. That's the next digit over. And so I say, how many times does 18 go into 100? It goes in 5 times and gives us 90. And so at the very end, we get a remainder at the very end of 10. And so that's the remainder after all the divisions happened. We could keep going for decimal places, but I'm just going to the nearest whole number. Because what we want to do here is we want to write this out in 3 different forms. We want to start by writing it as a division statement. And so 2080 divided by 18, as a division statement, there's your division symbol right there, is equal to 115 remainder 10. The other way to write that is a multiplication statement. In order to do that, we write it as 2080 equals 18 times 115 plus 10. The last way we can write that out is in a fraction form or a rational form. And so we could write that as 2080 divided by 18 is equal to 115 plus that 10 that's remainder is still being divided by 18. So we have 10/18 that's left over at the end. And so that's all there is to it now that we're going to apply to polynomial functions. And so 2x minus 3 we're going to divide that into 6x squared plus 3x minus 4. And so we set that up just like we did before, the 2x minus 3 being our divisor, the 6x squared plus 3x minus 4 being our dividend, and then the quotient is the answer that we're going to get. And so what we do is we go ahead and we say, well, how many times can I get 2x to divide into 6x squared? Well, I can do that 3x times. So 3 times x, 3x, times 2x is equal to 6x squared. Now I'm also going to do that. Now notice as well, I've lined that up with the x's. It's important you line it up with the right term. But I'm also going to multiply that by the other term in the binomial out in front. So 3x times negative 3 gives me minus 9x. Now I subtract that. And it's important here that you subtract the entire line because the first term should cancel out if you've done it properly, always giving you 0 times whatever it is. In this case, it's x squared. And then the other term here, 3 minus negative 9. So it's 3 plus 9. 2 negatives make it positive, gives me 12x. Now I bring down the negative 4, and now I answer the question, how many times does 2x go into 12x? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 12x gives me 6 times 2x rather, gives me 12x, and then 6 times negative 3 gives me minus 18. And now, like I did before, I subtract that entire line from the line above. And so I get the x's cancel out as they should if I've done it properly. And negative 4 minus negative 18 means I'm adding 18, which gives me a remainder of positive 14. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write that answer out in the 3 different ways again. So as a division statement, I can write that as 6x squared plus 3x minus 4 divided by 2x minus 3, just like I had on the top left of your screen. And then that's equal to 3x plus 6 with remainder 14. R14. The most useful way to write this out generally is a multiplication statement. And so this is how you do that. You go 6x squared plus 3x minus 4 is equal to what things multiplied together to get us that? Well, it was 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 6 plus 14, because that was the remainder that always tacks on to the end. The last form is 6x squared plus 3x minus 4. We write that over top of 2x minus 3. This is our rational form, and that's equal to 3x plus 6 plus, we had 14 left over that was divided by 2x minus 3, divided by our divisor. So, third example, and this brings us to where we started the video. the key here is to recognize that we don't have an x squared term, so we have to write it out as a 0x squared term when we do this long division. And this is what trips up a lot of people with questions like this. So we write this out as x plus 2, and then we write our long division sign, and then under that we write 4x cubed plus 0x squared. Very, very important that any terms that don't have a coefficient with them, we write as 0 times that. And so we have an x cubed, x squared, x, and a non-x term. We have to go down one at a time. So now we say, okay, well, 4x squared times x gets me 4x cubed. And so now I'm going to multiply that as well by the 2, and that gets me 8x squared. When I subtract that entire line from the line above, 0x squared minus 8x squared, that gives me negative 8x squared, and the x cubes canceled out as they should. Now I bring down the negative 2x, the next term over, and so now I say, well, how many times does x go into negative 8x squared? Well, that's going to be negative 8x. So negative 8x times x gives me negative 8x squared. We should have that always canceling out if we've done it properly. Then we also multiply that by 2, and that gives us negative 16x. We subtract that entire line from the line above. Negative 2x minus negative 16x means add 16x, so it gives us 14x. Now we bring down the 7, and so the last step we need to do now is say x times 14 gets me 14x, so that's why we're going to have a plus 14 now. So 14 times x gives me 14x plus 14 times 2 is 28, so that's going to have a remainder of negative 21. The x's cancel out as they should. That just tells us that we are on the right track. And so now we go ahead and we write that out in the three forms again. So the division statement is written out like this: 4x cubed minus 2x plus 7 divided by x plus 2 is going to be equal to, well, what do we have as the quotient? It's equal to 4x squared minus 8x plus 14, and then that remainder, I'm just going to write it below here for the sake of space, of negative 21. Sometimes it's helpful to have that as in brackets just so we don't confuse the remainder with the 4x squared minus 8x plus 14. Multiplication statement, we write that out like so. 4x cubed minus 2x plus 7 is equal to x plus 2 times the 4x squared minus 8x plus 14. So it's the divisor times the quotient, and then the remainder at the end, minus 21. And last but not least, in the fraction form or the rational form, it's 4x cubed minus 2x plus 7, all of that over top of x plus 2. And that is going to be equal to 4x squared minus 8x plus 14. And then that remainder that we had, that negative 21, is over top of x plus 2. We could have written that as minus 21 over x plus 2 as well, because adding a negative is just subtracting. This brings us to the fourth example, and this actually is the big idea here. The division of polynomials helps us factor higher order polynomials. So this is why we're doing this. So far, we've always had a remainder, but we ideally want to find situations that don't have remainders. So I'm asking, is x minus 1 a factor of 2x to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus 7x squared minus 3x plus 6? And we're just going to apply that same process all over again, just like we did before. And if it is a factor, it's going to give us a remainder of 0. I'm not walking through all these steps again because I've done that already, but you can go back to earlier examples to see how that works. But I will do them briefly as we go here. But we want to subtract and make sure that x to the fourth terms cancel out as they do. We bring down the negative 7x squared, and then we notice that 4x squared times x gives me 4x cubed. So we can go ahead and multiply that out. Also multiply that by the negative 1, and so that gives me minus 4x squared. Now when we go ahead and we subtract these, it's easy to mix this up and make a mistake. We have negative 7x squared minus negative 4x squared. So it's plus 4x squared, which gives us negative 3x squared. Bring down the negative 3x, and now we multiply negative 3x times the x minus 1. That gives us negative 3x squared plus 3x. Careful with your signs. Make sure you don't mix those up because it only works out if you do them correctly. Here we go again, we subtract them and we get negative 6x, bring down the positive 6. And now, if we multiply by negative 6, we actually get a remainder of 0 negative 6 times 6x gives me negative 6x, and a negative 6 times negative 1 gives me positive 6. We then subtract those, and there's our remainder of 0. And so what that means is it means that x minus 1 is a factor of this polynomial of degree 4. And so let's go ahead and take that and factor it fully as it asks us to do. So there's the expression that we started off with, and we now know that's equal to x minus 1 times 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x minus 6. Now you'll notice here there's no remainder because our remainder was 0. All right, so this is in that really helpful form that we talked about at the very beginning, which is the multiplication statement. But here we have 4 terms in that second set of brackets, so we can factor by grouping. We can't always do this, but it happens here that we can factor this by grouping, which is really nice. And so I can take a 2x squared out of the first 2 terms. I can take a negative 3 out of the next 2 terms. They both give us an x plus 2. And so what I can now do is I can write that out as 2x squared minus 3 times x plus 2. Now, at first glance, it might not look like this, but we have something times x squared minus something. This is actually a difference of squares, 2 terms, and we can actually take the square root of the first and last terms. Now, remember, a difference of squares is a squared minus b squared is a plus b times a minus b. Well, how do I take the square root of 2 and the square root of 3? Literally write it as the square root of 2 and the square root of 3. So this can be written as the square root of 2x all squared minus the square root of 3 all squared. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and say, well, the a term is root 2x, and then that's going to be added to the b term, which is root 3, and then the root 2x minus the b term, which is root 3. And so we could write our final answer after taking that difference of squares as x minus 1 times the square root of 2x plus the square root of 3 times the square root of 2x minus the square root of 3 times x plus 2. Now, the reason that's so helpful is that allows us to actually graph some things. What we're going to do later in this course, and what you're going to do if you're doing a different course, is we're going to actually go ahead and set that function equal to 0, because that gives us the x-intercepts, where the function passes through the x-axis. And that's a super useful thing about graphing functions. I'd love for you to comment below what example was the most difficult for you, and then check out the video on the left. That video is all about how to factor in case you need some review of factoring. And then the playlist on the right is a playlist that's continuing to grow. You'll want to subscribe so you don't miss those videos that continue to be added to it. It's continuing to grow around concepts related to this advanced functions course. I hope that was helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and please like and subscribe.